pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, to
Here.
Present.
Mike Person.
Here.
Team member.
Here.
John Quinn.
okay. Hearing some interested citizens and public comments. Michael, you're interesting, but yeah. Okay, consent agenda. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Kate Harrison.
Yes.
Roger Cone.
Yes.
Mike Person.
Yes.
John Echols.
Yes.
All right, this resolution 2425, a resolution to establish participation in bargain PERS and the public employee retirement system. So how did people feel about it when you said,
How do
Okay.
people or how do I?
okay, we'll go with you first, your opinion first, because they said everybody,
So back in August, I asked a very, very specific question, very, very specific. It was whether or not it was about the retirement be excluded from the. And the response I got was, yeah, that's not a problem as long as you include that in the ordinance, your resolution to get it. And so that's why I had the resolution last month that excluded. Hold on a second. Hi, John. Oh, okay. Did you get the email I sent? Okay, let me. Bear with me here. Let's see. Jake Quinn at Siskiyou.org. Siskiyou DA.org, yeah. So that should be in your desk. I'll resend it. Let's see.
it's all stuff
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah, I have your email
Yeah.
memorized. Yeah, I don't memorize it, but my computer. Okay, I just resent it. Yeah, so, we were just getting ready to start talking about PERS. But I'm wondering, can you do that? I should put you on speaker here so you can hear Lisa tell you. What are you saying?
You just give them the number.
Oh, you got it, okay. Okay, all right, I'll hang up. You guys might wait, it looked kind of like that John Horton.
Okay, yeah, because
Yeah, it was,
he was the one that brought up this kettle of fish.
Okay, hi, John. Okay, so we are on item number 2, which was the resolution to participate in PERS. And Kay just asked me how it came about that things changed, or something to that.
More rest.
So I'll just repeat what I said. Back in August, I asked them a very specific question about how, if it was possible to exclude people close to retirement that would not end up being vested. And response I got was that, yeah, that was possible. We just needed to make sure we included that in our resolution to accept the plan. So that was the resolutions I had last month. I sent it up to PERS with you. They sent it up their chain, and when it came back down, they said, no, that's not possible. It's either everybody is in, or you don't have the option of picking and choosing who gets to go into it. So that puts us in a situation where we have a half dozen or so employees who want to retire in less than 5 years, they turn 55. So that puts us in a position where we would either, stay longer than we initially intended to make sure we get the pension benefit, or forfeit a certain amount of contributions to our retirement. So that's, if we accept this, that's a choice we're gonna have to make. And
Neither one of them were good choices.
not necessary, yeah, they're not. And it's a tough decision. At least for myself, I haven't made yet. But I think overall, for the good of the organization, good of the staff, I think it's still appropriate to move forward with that. And then those of us that, are kind of caught in the middle, will need to figure something. So that's my recommendation.
John?
You're on mute.
Yeah.
There I am.
Yeah.
Okay, so Carl, I understand that, I get what you're saying, of course. So there's about 5 or 6 people, and they would end up having to pay employee portion of PERS, but it would essentially not be returned even as a cashback situation if they don't vest?
Correct, yeah, the two parts of PERS, the one is the pension, and the other is they call it the IAP, which is individual.
Right,
Yeah, whatever. And so that part they would get back. That we would, everybody has to put 6% of their pay into that. And it goes to some kind of mutual fund. And you're automatically vested in that because that's your own money that you're putting in.
essentially 401k, that part.
Basically, yeah. The pension portion of it, you have to be vested. And so the company would be putting money into PERS for those I'll just use myself as an example. So if I were to retire in 2 years at the age of 60, which before was my plan, the company would end up paying 1.5 years of PERS to, contributions to PERS on my behalf that I would not get benefit from.
And we would lose essentially too, because we wouldn't have bought you anything.
Right, and and theoretically, they told me, and I don't know exactly how this part works, but that money is credited to the organization for future liability. So I don't know how that part works, but I don't think that's a significant benefit. So that's the position. So my choice right now, it would be, I work 2 more years like I planned, I retire, I go and live my life, or I work 4.5 more years and get a small pension out of it. And so that would end up, and every other person that's kind of in my position would have to make that same decision about which one they should.
I vote for making Carl work another 4.5 years instead of 2.
I have one question.
Yes.
You used 2 phrases in which you were saying, one was they.
Oh,
Who is they?
Probably a meant PERS.
Okay, PERS make that statement.
Yes, yeah, when I
That was
was
not acceptable.
when I asked them what our options were for people in my position, PERS told me that we could exclude individuals as long as we did it with the resolution that we to adopt.
Okay, you mentioned also up the chain. Who was that referring to?
That was in PERS, so it went up to their actuarial services. I don't know how far they went. They got their legal, PERS got their legal people involved in it, and what they told me is that the law that they changed back in 2003 was intended to keep everybody in the same pool, all employees, qualified employees of an employer within the same pool.
So you couldn't cherry pick.
You couldn't cherry pick, right?
So that was a PERS decision, basically.
Yes,
Not the people who were here.
right.
But evidently not everybody was informed that you couldn't cherry pick.
Evidently, yes.
That's what I don't like about bureaucracy,
Yeah.
because that
And
happens more.
and when I look back at it, the message I got back that told me we could do it, the person who responded to me was also wrong about something else that I noticed in that email. So I think that person wasn't the most.
Maybe they were a
well-informed.
newbie or something. Who knows?
Could have been, I don't know, but the frustrating part is that I'm kind of every step of the way, that's been kind of a cornerstone of moving forward with it. And now, you know, if they'd have told us that in August, it probably wouldn't change our decisions, but I would have had more time to emotionally process.
I think John.
He does. Oh, go ahead, John.
So I guess the question that we would have to decide is, do we leave the employees in a position where they would lose their employee contribution portion? We would get our part back as a credit towards future liability, so we're fine. And that begs the question, how much would the employees be losing? Understand, we'd have to figure out how many there are and how long they're going to stay short of 5, and it's hard to predict. So I guess maybe a per year amount would be something to know. And then we would have to ask ourselves, for example, if we want to, don't know if we want to have like a separation bonus that compensates them for the employee portion they've lost so that they become whole, or don't give that, and have that be a motivation for our retirees to stay a little bit longer, like we hope Carl does. I mean, that's the choice. Do we give them, not rebate them, and hopefully motivate them to stay longer, or they can decide not to and forego it? Or do we compensate them and mean you can retire whenever and you won't be hurt? It's only a few people. So, and we don't know how many dollars that would be and who it is exactly other than Carl, so we can't do the math. But I mean, it would be Carl's salary times whatever his employee portion is per year that we would have to give him back if we go there. And I'm just doing the decision tree with you guys. I'm not saying how I feel about it, but those are the choices. Compensate them, don't compensate them, are the choices.
Within PERS though, isn't there an option as management staff is separate from the employees? It seems like when the city of Central Point dealt with this about 4 years ago during the re-signing of the contract with the police officers got a different package than management staff did, which was the chief, captain, lieutenant, and sergeants. They're creative, and therefore they got a different plan. Is there any?
No, they don't get a different plan, at least, well, in California, and I think it's the same. It's not a different plan, Mike. What it is that your bargaining unit, like we did many years ago, can bargain to require the county or the agency, whatever it is, to pay the employee portion of PERS. We skipped that and took a higher salary instead because we pay the employee portion, but the dollar figure that's used to calculate our pension is higher too, which ends up being nice for us. It was a trade-off. We did the math. We liked it. That's what we wanted. So they don't pay our employee portion, but the number that gets multiplied by our percentage at the end of the day is higher, so it's better for us. It was a value for our money. That is definitely separately negotiated, but I don't know that you can just not be part of PERS. I think probably the higher up person told Carl the right answer.
Right, correct, that's right.
So, okay, part of what we started down this road was for purposes of recruitment and retainment.
Right.
And that's why you brought this up, John, in the first
Totally.
place. Thank you.
No, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, anyway, so what you brought up too, with do we pay or not pay to make them whole, or not pay to keep them, to use it as an incentive? I don't really like that. That's more or less like blackmail, sort of. But this whole situation is getting a little.
As I said, I didn't have an opinion. I was just sharing my thoughts about the decision tree.
I know. And that's what I'm doing too. It's, so to me, I would go with making them whole again, even to a certain extent, because I don't like the other too much, even though I just as soon retain the people that we have. Because for the most part, if we've got them, they've been here, they're doing a good job, I would like to keep them. Yeah, because it's a whole lot harder to get. But again, I want to make it so that if people want to retire at 60 or 62, they don't feel like they have to stay on because we've changed courses. You know,
I think you're probably right, Kay, and can I throw out something else? I think that, for example, if you leave after 2 years and forego the pension but take a payout, that payout is going to be a whole lot less than your pension's going to be if you stay the 5. So it still has a motivational factor without being punitive. So that's very smart solution, Kay.
Yeah, I don't like pension unless it's absolutely necessary. Sometimes it is, but don't like it.
So the resolution before us is to ask PERS to start the process.
Okay,
And so we can do that without making that other decision right now. But certainly, if you want me to, I can come back with a proposal that would accomplish what you said, I think. That would make someone who retires before they're vested to be made whole. I gotta be a little careful because I don't want it to be like, if someone's 30 years old and quits, I want to get made whole. So you have to make it specific to someone
Yeah.
who is actually retiring.
It should be limited to the people who are too close to retirement age and for whom 5 years would go past their planned retirement age.
And I think we can do that, can't we, legally and
Yeah.
per PERS?
Yeah, I think we could do that. You know, I mean, it wouldn't be too terribly hard. And I think, to John's point there, I think if you're just strictly looking at the math, working a few extra years makes the most sense for a person. But the other part of it is like, it's great that I'm gonna have money when I'm 90, but what am I want to do it when I'm 60. So, so it is kind of it's an individual decision that everyone's gonna have to make.
Absolutely.
To really decide what their priorities are.
Okay, any other comments, John?
I have none.
I have one, so we don't really have to make a decision today.
Well, I'd like to make a decision on whether or not we're gonna go with PERS and
We
start
have
the contract.
At some stage, yes.
Right, so,
Start.
yeah, that's what this resolution.
That's all we're saying here. is
We
start
want
the
to join
process.
PERS and you're authorizing me to, work out the details.
Gotcha.
And then the other part about whether or not we want to provide, some kind of, make people whole who are in that bubble zone. We can make that later.
Roger, you have any comments?
Well, I mean, we're not gonna start participation until July 1st,
Right.
25 anyway, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if proving it now is a necessity,
No,
or
Of the resolution or
Right.
or the other part?
the resolution.
Well, no, because it's going to take us about at least 4 months to get all the contracts up worked out.
And all we're saying here is we're gonna start the process.
Yeah.
We're gonna fool with it later.
Yeah, well, we won't change anything with our relationship with PERS. If
Correct.
we start this process, we're making contributions for every single employee come July. It's gonna take, like I said, they expect it to take at least 4 months to get the contracts prepared and get everything lined up. So that's why I want to get that part moving,
Yeah.
if that's the direction. The other part of it, we have 6 months to figure that out.
yeah. Okay. So is everybody ready to do a motion?
I mean, another option, well, I guess this applies to the other code, but I mean, the managers could go under, or the people that are gonna leave in 3 or 4 years could go under contract instead of being employees.
That's true.
That's an option, if that
That's a
might
good,
save us money.
that's a good point. Mhm.
But if we do approve this, is there a specification about having all members
Yes,
joining? So they couldn't have that contract.
it says all qualified employees. So
Qualified.
if you put someone under contract, I think you can do it in a way that they would not necessarily be qualified employees. So that might be a way to keep them out of it.
Which is how the city did that, because they're Teamsters, they have a separate contract, which is why they treat them differently.
Yeah.
So you would make those employees, those 5 or 6 folks exempt? For,
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to get kind of a little fuzzy around labor laws. I think we start doing, trying to get too clever about that. I want to be cautious.
Yes,
About, what kind of, the word that comes to mind is trickery, but I don't know if it's not necessarily that.
Deception to be world.
So, that's something that we can sort of look at if there's a way to reclassify employees in a way that they would not be considered a qualified PERS employee. It seems fraught with peril.
it does.
Do you have it in
It does.
writing? Do you have it in writing from the gal that
I've got an email.
excludes, so you got an email?
Yeah, I got it.
It almost
Yeah.
seems like you ought to be able to, that we ought to be able to go to the bank with that. And hers doesn't have a choice in these circumstances.
I'm not
The
sure.
person who, the higher up who told me the news, and I talked to him on the phone, and, he was pretty confident that that was the final answer, and I wasn't gonna get anywhere. Honestly, I don't know that it's necessarily worth it. I mean, if Joe, sue the state and said, you're a low-level person, promised me something, and now you're taking it back. I demand you give it to me. I don't.
The fact that you talk to the higher up,
Yeah,
who's trying to sell this product, he's gonna tell you what he wants to tell you. You have written.
potentially, yeah.
Is our attorney, our attorney be involved to check all this out before we go any further? Would he have the
I could
expertise?
ask Joe's opinion of it, and see what he has to say about that. I mean, honestly, I don't think that there's much of an avenue for recourse on that. But, if you want me to check it with Joe, I certainly can.
Well, if nothing else, he could give us an ideas on how we can get around that,
Yeah.
you know?
It's a thought pattern.
Mhm.
I'm not sure it would get us anywhere. But if PERS, perchance, has it written down in such a way that it's legit, that you can only do, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if it's all just,
It seems like a kind of a flaky way to do business if I'm talking about PERS here. You think they'd say, here's the decision, I'm sending you the information, telling you what the rules are within the process.
they should have documentation.
Yeah, with the statutes that they referred to, I read the statute, and to me, it didn't seem like it said what they said it said. But
Attorneys will.
I've been previously wrong on things like that before, so.
I had to read next thing 3 times. I mean, sometimes it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's okay.
This one?
It's okay.
So, I mean, if you want me to, we can table this. And I can try to get more of those answers.
Well,
Or, we're not committed by approving this either. I mean,
Okay.
ultimately, we have to sign a contract.
Right.
So we can move forward with this. And then when we get to the contract phase, if we're not satisfied, we don't have to do. I think that's the way to go.
I think that's what we're asking with this, is to do that so we can keep moving forward. So if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's there sooner than later.
Yeah, and what I'll tell him is that, when I send up the resolution, that, that we have concerns about that part of it, and, I'd like more documentation on what the actual rules are.
Yeah, my opinion would be we postpone this for a month till things get sorted out. And
Okay.
it sounds like if we approve it in the middle of January, it leaves you 5.5 months.
Yeah.
You think you need 4?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so we're gonna table this motion?
so let me get this straight. So, and, it just means that you're not gonna be able to do anything much with this. This is to help give you, tools to move forward with.
Right. This is what starts the process. And when I send this to PERS, they'll start putting together the contract. And we'll start giving training for all the information, that sort of thing. So this is what gets the ball rolling for them to create a contract for us.
So it really wouldn't be a bad idea to sign this for now, realizing that we could change it back out at any time.
Right, we're not committed.
We're not constricted to go with hers.
Once we sign a contract, we're good for life.
When,
If we sign this and send it to PERS, we're showing intent.
Yeah,
right,
And we don't want to show intent yet until we resolve this issue with the 5 or 6 employees.
Good point.
Well, if I can talk.
go ahead, yeah.
I don't think the question of what to do with the 5 or 6 employees really affects whether we want to participate in PERS for the employees in general. It just means we have a part 2 to deal with. And we don't quite know what part 2 is yet. It might be nothing because we can accept them, and it might be something that we'll have to pay them compensation for if they leave early. But that's part 2. And that has nothing more to do with PERS than anything any kind of bonus or reimbursement we give any employee. It's none of their business. So I don't see why we would need to postpone that depending on what the answer is, because it's not going to change our decision to join PERS or not. Now, if in some director's mind, that how we handle the 5 or 6 people is somehow a deal breaker that we're not going to do PERS at all, I guess that's a separate question, and we're going pretty far backwards. So I think we can just do this now and get the answer and deal with the answer as it comes.
Well, I'm not opposed to PERS, but I am opposed to sending this resolution now.
So we have a straw vote as to who wants to do it now and who wants to do it later.
We can do that, or we can go ahead and make a motion and people can vote yea or nay.
Okay,
Let's talk about real quick that you're concerned, Roger, is our intent, showing our intent. You're thinking if we approve this now, that we're gonna send a message to them that.
A little bit. We're still dating if Carl's calling them and saying, hey, we got an issue here. And it leaves us more power to, someone to go, oh, well, we probably better exclude those 5 or 6 employees. And let's move on and take them on. That's my feeling. Once you send this up there, you guys are getting married.
Yeah, this is the engagement ring, it's not the wedding ring.
Right, that's exactly
We
right.
can always,
But I don't want to get engaged until we can resolve some issues.
If we postpone this till January, is it gonna make your job more difficult or?
I don't think so. I mean, they tell me they can get it done in 4 months, so I think that'll, that'll be an issue. Yeah.
And you can always drink back.
Because you don't have confidence in the first.
I don't have confidence that they can get anything done in 4 months.
I would say that I make a suggestion that we just table this thing until January. Give you a little extra time if you need to. Just do a straw poll.
Okay, straw poll. Who's for, looking at the resolution 2425? Going ahead with that.
For what out?
This is just the straw one.
just me.
John's in.
I kind of am, but I also see Roger's point and everybody else's point.
Well, I don't think not approving this resolution is going to give us much leverage in negotiations with PERS about whether we can exclude employees or not, because I frankly think PERS doesn't particularly care what leverage we have. They're going to do what they feel like. And so they're going to give the answer they give, whether we've given them an engagement ring or not. It's not an arm's length negotiation. They're bean counters. It's a administrative agency. They're going to do what they do. So I don't think there's a profit in it. I don't think there's much downside either to moving it if it doesn't hurt Carl. But I don't think there's profit either. I think they already know we're getting married, so why not give them the ring?
That's the problem. When you know you're getting married, you stop trying.
Don't tell my wife.
I understand. Okay, we have 1.5 votes so far. You have, or you in?
I would like to do the resolution because I want to keep moving forward. I don't like how PERS is treating us because I don't like the fact that the rules seem to be wishy-washy because, but in my dealings with things from the state, it's not unusual. So,
All right, I'll make a motion to postpone resolution 2425 or to the January meeting.
I'll second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Kay Harrison,
Yes.
Roger Tom,
Yes.
Mike Parsons.
Yes.
John Edwards,
Yes.
John Quinn.
No,
Okay, I will get more answers for next month.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
sure.
That was, yeah. Okay, moving on. Now, resolution 2428. This was a lot easier. This is just appointing people to the budget committee. These are nice people.
Yes, both Eleanor Pomeroy and Anna D'Amato, they're currently on our budget committee and they both expressed interest to continue. So I think that's just approve it for another 2-year term.
So I need a motion for this one, please.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2428, the appointments to the budget committee.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Kay Harrison.
Yeah.
Roger Tom.
Yes.
Mike Parsons.
Yes.
John Edwards,
Yes.
John Quinn.
Yes,
Okay, next we have an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Eagle Point.
Okay, so let's see how we go. Eagle Point has an MS4 program for stormwater. And they've had it for a number of years. We talked to them, I'm gonna think 3 years ago, about them joining part of the regional system that work under us. And that effort kind of stagnated for a while. Recently, they came back and said, yeah, we want to join. So this IGA, it's already been approved by the city of Eagle Point at their city council meeting. Basically, it brings them into our stormwater program, similar to how we operate for Phoenix, and Jackson County. Couple of minor differences. For the other cities, we actually do the billing. Fee. We don't bill for sewer at Eagle Point, they bill for sewer and they send us the money. So, what our approach is there is that we just have them pay us an annual fee to do it rather than mess around with any of the billing issues and stuff. So we set the annual fee at $70,000, which we're confident is going to be adequate to serve the needs of the.
And they will be with that.
They agree with that, and the inflation clause. That's all I have on that. The other thing that's a little bit different is, they don't have a very good their system, and it's something that they're required to have. And it's part of the permit that they're under right now requires them to have it. They're supposedly putting out a request for proposal to get a stormwater master plan out here in the next month or so. And the mapping is going to be part of that. So we're kind of, that's one of the requirements that they have as part of this thing, to get that map produced. They have indicated that they may want us to do it for them, which would be a whole different project, and they have to pay up for that. Part of me think that's a good idea.
What else would I find it out?
We think that would be a good idea because the map would be good and we have confidence in it, but at the same time, I don't know if we have the resources right now to develop that. That's a whole different topic. They might come back to us and ask for more help there. Anyway, other than that, it's pretty much the same. I mean, it would be the same program we have for everywhere else. We would apply it to Eagle Point. And it's more work, but it's not anything different from what we're already doing. So It would be good for the program, it would be good for providing consistency throughout.
So we could do that without increasing staff.
No, we won't have to increase that. You know,
I have a question on the date in the witness thereof. It's,
yeah,
I know.
it should be January 1st, 2025.
I changed it on the one you're gonna sign.
okay. I figured that because it was highlighted in yellow, so I figured.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and under term of agreement is the same thing. On section 8, that needs to be put in there.
Roger?
All right, so how long were you dating Edith White before? It sounds like.
It's a shotgun. Yeah. So, like I said, they've only had a permit for one cycle. They became an MS4 community in 2020. And they came to us, I think, pretty much, pretty quickly after, I think it's when their engineer left. Yes. So they had a sit, their public works director was an engineer, he left, a couple of years after that, then it was, I stepped in and helped out. But it never progressed very far. I mean, we actually had a draft document, but, it kind of died there.
Did you talk fees with them then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had, it was almost the same exact document that we have, of course, right now.
Were we talking 70,000 or 60,000
I think it
bucks
was
then?
around 70. I can't remember exactly. It might have just been 70.
And so maybe they thought it was a little high at the time.
They could have, yeah. I don't know. They had a vacancy in their public works director for a long time. I think that might have been part of it. Is they need to find a public works director who needed too much more.
I think it went all the way to their council. They actually discussed it at some point. They showed it for some reason.
I don't know, the 70,000 seems cheap to me. But they're
You'd be surprised, I mean, if you look at our budget and you look at like how much revenue comes from Phoenix and Talent versus what we get from Jackson County, it's almost all Jackson County. It's, 70,000 more than, you get from Phoenix. So I think it's not a good there. Plus we don't have to do anything.
Well, yeah, that's.
John has a question.
Oh, John, go ahead.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Got it. My wife would love to have a mute button on me. I was thinking what would happen. Okay, the city of Medford got hit with this changed rules for DEQ and they have to put in $300 million to change the plant. That is wastewater. I get that. It's not stormwater. But what if DEQ came in and said, you have to handle your stormwater differently and do this, that, and the other thing? Under this contract, I don't see who would bear the risk of that. What would happen if we got a curveball like that, Carl? Or do you expect one to happen?
So, if a new permit came out that had radically different, requirements, we would
Right.
have to renegotiate. And it was more than what we could cover in this, we would have to renegotiate. And this agreement,
I just didn't see in the contract where it said they can't just say, well, you already negotiated, here's your $70,000.
It's the last sentence there. Perhaps.
Did I miss it?
Or 6.
6?
They did cost of, increase of cost.
Right.
And growth.
right, okay, so under 6, under compensation. So if
Yeah.
you came back and said, whatever we have to do, and we decide it's gonna cost us a lot, and we have to raise our stormwater rates, say 20%, that automatically rolls over into what we raised the rates for in Eagle Point also.
Last
Well,
sentence.
that's if we raise our generally applicable rates, but what if it's Eagle Point specific? We're not gonna raise our system-wide stormwater rates just because Eagle Point.
It's a general permit, so
That's what I mean.
it's all. So.
I get that.
Okay,
That doesn't really answer the question, what happens if there's an Eagle Point specific problem? Maybe I'm being unnecessarily difficult. That's quite possible. I just don't want to be exposed to have to be stuck with the rate of $70,000 if it's a problem with DEQ, or have the only alternative be to raise the rates for everyone to compensate for a problem with Eagle Point if it comes up. You see what I mean?
yeah, so I'm trying to think of a scenario where DEQ would apply a condition specifically to one community, but not under the general
The
permit.
only thing that I could think of, it would actually maybe even not be a DEQ thing, it'd probably be a third-party lawsuit of some sort,
Yeah.
specifically for Butte Creek or something like that. For the TMDL that's associated, but that's kind of a different scenario. But DEQ, the permits general, I mean, it's all the same applicable standards are for everybody who has an MS4, a general MS4 permit, with the exception of the folks like Albany, I believe City of Bend, and maybe one or two other ones that have individual permits, which you actually have to apply for to DEQ separately.
And also, John, under section 9.2, if there's a change in law
Yeah.
or circumstances, we have the right to terminate.
Well, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Roger, you
That's
have-
good. That does give us leverage. Thank you, Carl. We wouldn't just be relying on their kindness to let us renegotiate.
yeah,
Yeah, the terms of the agreement, would remain in effect for the duration of the MS4. So DEQ doesn't really, they wouldn't add new intermediate
right.
items. I don't think they've ever done anything like that I know of, and so.
Yeah, so they'll issue the permit and it'll be good for 5 years plus whatever extensions they make to write a new permit.
Which is coming.
They typically would not be adding conditions midstream. Once the permit's issued, they'll honor that for the duration of the permit. And they'll make their changes with the next permit iteration.
Okay, any other questions? Need a motion, please?
I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement, City of Eagle Point, as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Kay Harrison.
Yeah.
Roger Todd.
Yes.
Mike Carson.
Yes.
John Edwards.
Yes.
John Quinn. That a yes or a no?
It is a yes.
Okay, all right. It's, the intergovernmental agreement has been approved. Excuse me, project updates?
So, a pretty quick one this week. Hill Road sewer rehab is under construction. There's a lot going on there, but the general report is it's moving forward. Hopefully, we're on track. The general contractor that has the contracting partners with the other subcontractor. They're screaming, they got 19 or 26 pipe in one day, which for 30-inch pipe is a lot. And, so if they take over and just take the rate, I don't have any worries that they're going to find it. But other than that, we have a really good working relationship with the county, which really is their biggest on this project. We're working together. Double team on the contractor to keep them, I guess, honest, so to speak.
That's nice.
Yeah, so it's moving. It's a big project and, we're seeing some good success with it. Shady Cove pump station number 2, that project is complete. Pump station is running, doing this job. And we've got a fence up and the site is graded. Like that. Last thing to do is submit our administrative DEQ for approval. On the books. Echo Way, not a whole lot I need to talk to you to see whether they really did want that expansion system, which I haven't heard anything about, so I need to check them. Miscellaneous pump station upgrades, MSTJ has to update site. Fourth Street and Gold Hill, no real news on that one either. We plan on bidding that one in February, which gives us a pretty good window to get some pretty spring, late spring. The stormwater facility, that project, I haven't seen it for a while. It looked awesome when I saw it in September, but it had the wood kind of it's just all poured out like that, so you can't really get that there. Pretty excited to see that after. I believe there's more going into it. The 99 project that's associated with it. Yeah. So that's what it's for. The UV disinfection of Shady Cove, that one is this close to being bid. The consultant has everything you need to bid. I didn't know if we got a couple other ones in the works. I didn't have time to deep on this one, but there's a really fairly small project up in White City, kind of just north of the there. We've got an existing sewer plant quite some time ago. There's a private developer that wants to come and put a gas station. Gas station convenience store for sure. But one of the conditions for the county, from the county planning to this developer is they assemble in that and the problem is we cannot find it either, which is not crazy uncommon. Like it was built way back in the 70s, and you know it could have just been it could have been approved as just a service lateral at the time. It just complicated, crazy. But that being said, we've done this before where we partnered with a developer to actually design and construct it, and we'll reimburse them the costs. So we've got an agreement with folks next month.
So they'll get it physically through this.
Yeah, the good thing is it's old AC pipe. It's on our strategic plan list to replace or rehab, you know, and it's in a bad spot. The developer gave us an actual easement. We'll relocate it and we'll just pay for it.
Cool.
It's really a pretty good deal most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Gold Hill, the intertie, that's really starting to cook on the design side. Big project. It's a giant, simple project with a really big footprint, which makes it complicated. So.
Do you have any idea how many people might be interested in that UV? There are a lot of these
What's that now?
UV bid. Did we expect many bidders at all?
We have no idea. We were totally dependent on the consultant, so I don't think it was any of that. Yeah, we don't do a lot of those. So it's kind of tough to say.
Yeah, I just do not think these were.
Our consultant for the Gold Hill Airtight said that, I mean, they do a lot of fairly large projects around the state. They said they're getting a lot of interest on projects of that Gold Hill size, so that's really good.
Yeah, the bidding environment seems to be good.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah, it was rough though for a minute. That's all I got.
Thanks, Nick. If you not have, listen, Gold Hill, because I had to read it several times to make sure. Because I got confused and it's just me. I'm pretty sure nobody else got confused, but we're fixing pipes, but then we had that one sentence that said we couldn't do it because it was cost. So I didn't realize it was separate.
Oh, separate crossings, got it. Okay.
Yeah, it took me a minute.
Yeah, Nick's got a cartoon drawing of yeah, let's get good with it.
Next time, cartoon drawing.
Okay.
But thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, TJ. And yours was easy, because no sentences.
November was good for flushing TV. Yesterday, the flush was out here on Table Rock Road and filled the factory truck up a couple times with rock. And with Michael's help, they got the TV camera in there. They found the section of pipe was broken, so that's the excavator out there today, they're doing emergency dig out. I guess, yeah, once they pull the pavement off, there's quite a little weight under the asphalt, so. Old AC pipe, we're gonna have to go in after they fix it and see the camera and see the condition, see if we need to slip line it or dig and replace her. So, yeah, they're out there right there across from the fence truck body. At the shop, fixing that today. All the generators have been serviced for the pump stations except for the big one, which is scheduled, January 6th. Plants are doing good. We got 2 new aerators installed, Tuesday out at the lagoons. Different style of aerator. The other one we kind of have up on the top that we just kind of mix the water. This water from the middle kind of distributes that. We'll see what happens. We're getting quite a bit more septic this time of year since the drivers aren't doing the land application, so we're up to 430,000 gallons in November. And last to note, Michael passed his collections 3. So
Yay!
that requires, I think, 8 years of employment to be able to test, or 7 or 8 years, which he had in October. So then he was got right on it, flying and passed. So good for him.
Cool. And good for getting right on it. Jeez, good.
That's
Good.
it. Thank you.
Thanks, TJ. That was good. Cool. Okay, Carl, your turn.
Okay, Eagle Point IGA, we already talked about. Strategic plan development, we did our second brainstorming session to talk about external threats and opportunities. Not a whole lot of surprises here on the opportunity side. One thing that was different from last time was a focus on new technology and particularly artificial intelligence. So it's kind of interesting, so we'll see if we can make out of that. And on threats, last time around, we had public perception as a threat, but this time we didn't. But we did have economic downturn. Particularly about potential tariffs and supply chain disruptions. So, something to be looking at.
Is that something that would be more so this time than it was during the pandemic?
Well, we didn't anticipate the pandemic.
I know.
So I think we might be a little bit more sensitive to that, what that can do to us.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, there's still some supply chain issues and long lead times we have. So that's, I think, a little bit more focused on right now. But next month, what we'll do is we'll try to, you know, on my follow-up questions, we'll try to make more succinct statements about each opportunity. So, we're not gonna do anything this month. We're just gonna- too much.
The fun stuff.
Yeah. The Shady Cove UV disinfection, Nick already talked about that, but we did issue a PO for the purchase of the equipment. So that's in production now, and I think we're date on that. Jacksonville, we are moving on a transition to the Jacksonville billing. Carolyn and Brenda had some blood pressure issues. We had a couple of little hiccups with Franco software, but I think that's all gonna resolve. I think we're still on track to stay safe, so you can check, right? Golden Hill transition, it hasn't changed. You know, they're still looking at, you know, the transfer of that USDA loan to us.
It still hasn't gone to their office, the general
Yeah. Yeah,
R&E.
yeah, so they, you know, they've asked us for a little bit more information, given it to them. Yeah. So I don't know where they're at with that. It's, they were questioning whether or not we had enough money to source it. Yeah, that was my reaction. It's like, wait, they had, it's in our budget. But they're trying to very specifically focus on holding Gold Hill revenues, and I said, still, I mean, our budget shows we're paying it, our budget shows we're gonna back what we were to need. So, at any rate,
They're stalling for some reason. That's what it seems like to me.
yeah. yeah, it's kind of a mess. I don't, you know, there's a new person in charge of talking with us now. So that might change things. But we'll see. I mean, we'll still keep pushing on it and give them whatever information they need. So hopefully they'll respond.
Maybe they'll kickstart me.
Yeah. The purpose we already talked about, budget committee we talked about, board dinner. Okay, so let's talk about venue on that, because it's, okay, I'm gonna share my screen here with what research Joan has found. So Joan contacted the Voorhees Mansion, Eco Winery, and they basically raised their rates a lot. And so with Edenvale up on top here, just to get the room, it's $1,200. And then, you know, whatever wine charges are, they don't have a chef in. So we would have to hire a caterer to come in to bring food. So that didn't sound like a good deal. So Joan looked at other places that might have a room big enough to house us all. She looked at the Hummingbird Estate, which is another winery out towards Jacksonville, a lot cheaper venue. But again, you need to bring it. The Bella Union in Jacksonville, you know, was not too terribly expensive. I don't think you got that yet. Joan, did you look at their room at all? At
Which
Bella
one?
Union?
No, I haven't called them yet. I mean, I know what they look like, but can we get what we
We could get
want?
20-some people there, yeah. There's a place called the Butterfly Club in Medford, which is, it's kind of a theme park. They theme it like a speakeasy, so people like dress up in zoot suits and stuff. But it's $5,000, you get the whole place and all food and drinks included for that, and it can hold up to 50 people, so I think that's what we're probably looking at. Point and Central Point has a room upstairs. That would be like grill food, bar food, kind of stuff. And you didn't get a price from them yet?
They didn't call me back.
Okay. Roxanne Winery, theirs is an outdoor venue. One, yeah, they have an enclosed patio with heaters on it, and then you have to get a caterer for that. Rosario's,
They back.
they did that back to the resort in Eagle Point has a restaurant. It's $500 for the room. And we looked at the menu on that, and, you know, it's the traditional, you know, a chicken option, a steak option, fish option. And I think the entrees are in the range of about $50 a plate. And they, if we decided to go on Monday or Tuesday, we waived the room fee. So that's something to consider.
And it shows they do not reserve for Saturdays.
You can't have it on a Saturday, that's their business. And then Callahan's, you know, similar type of thing, they actually came back to Joan and gave a lower room fee. They told her $450 for the room at first, and they dropped it to $250 and said they really want us up there. And their menu is kind of similar to what Eagle Point is, which is kind of basic. You know, a big tipping point is whether you want New York strip steaks versus prime ribs, because that's like a $15 plate difference.
Wow.
That's where they tip it. But you know, that's kind of out of the way. That's quite a haul for a lot of people to go, and might be what we want to
We
do.
got married there
Did you?
44 years ago. Yeah, before it burned down the second time.
I've been out there several times, but I didn't get there.
Yeah, I live right up there.
Oh, really?
So that's what we know so far. And I don't know if any of those are favorite, good idea for.
Is the Jacksonville Inn still a possibility, or did it just not call back?
He got back to me, and so I had more questions, and he never got back to me. And I don't know if they have the whole building, or if they just have the bar, I don't know, he never got.
Yeah.
Well, the resort at Eagle Point is not a bad place.
And, you know, they were one of the more responsive ones and they seem to be price competitive. And, you know, if we went to put on Monday or Tuesday night, more attractive.
Does that work for the working people?
We were all off before that, I mean.
I live in Eagle Point, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point would be fine with me, I guess. I
Heard their food's great.
focusing on it.
Is it part of the golf club?
Yeah.
Outdoors.
I
What?
Outdoors?
No, no.
Oh, this was inside? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're talking in here, so.
In Roxanne, it's a, tent structure with the bowls and everything here, so it's just not in their taste too good. Well, you can rent the taste too, I think it's.
Problem with Roxanne, that must provide your own catering.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that,
Right.
all the ones that cater, that's just.
Yeah.
Whole different
That's
kind
a-
of meal.
Well, and it's a lot of things for Jonah Joe.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they give you a list of caterers that they recommend, yeah,
yeah,
all of them said that they had that, so, I mean, I think it just depends on what kind of food you guys want.
The
and then
most
the
caterers have buffet style. Here in the tin, you serve yourself.
You can do both, you can do both,
Do both?
it's more expensive to have a plated dinner.
yeah.
But, I mean, really, a caterer wouldn't be that much more problem. Cause they would be doing all the work, we're
That's
just setting them up and then they're serving us and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Eagle Point does have a buffet option too,
Yes, ooh, yeah, taco buffet.
right?
We get as many options. Margarita buffet. Oh.
There's a real shortage in Central Point and the Rogue Valley to find that.
Well, decent night, yeah. I'm thinking of all the places I've gone to eat over the years for different things for the city and for different things. They're not here.
Closed.
They're just not here. So. Anyway, what do you guys think? What do you?
Well, I think the resort Eagle Point's a good option. We did it before. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I think that was the best option. I think it's, you know, it's not entirely centrally located, but close enough to everybody.
Yeah.
And like I said, they were the most responsive.
Yeah.
Joan asked him for information, I guess the question is, do we want to go on next Monday night? Friday night?
Is Friday an option?
I think Saturday is not an option, but Friday would be.
Monday or Tuesday, it's just the room fee, there's no room fee, so we save $500
Yeah.
if we do Monday or Tuesday.
We might be able to do like Sunday afternoon as well. So that's not a Super Bowl Sunday.
So April, I think it's the Super Bowl. Well played by them.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Anyway.
Actually, Sunday looks pretty well.
Yeah.
Since you can't reserve on Saturday, which means Sunday's probably good.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon, not so much an evening, because you got to work the next morning, but even a Sunday afternoon at 3 with, I mean, that's,
That's nice. Yeah.
I've been with either Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, whichever works out for the most people.
Well, I think what I had asked them was March, the 22nd, but we could do it the 23rd or, I don't know when. Oh, yeah. Well, is that spring break?
Spring break starts the 22nd.
We could do the 16th of March.
Yeah.
I mean, I just threw a date out there to him. Just to, because when you fill out the application, But it can be,
Sunday after spring break.
The 30th
Oh,
is the Sunday at the end of spring break.
I don't think I want to do it this Sunday. Yeah. What we, for that.
that's the
That's
16th.
fine. Oh, the 16th is the weekend before spring break.
I can-
March.
March
March
Oh,
16th.
no, I thought we were going, okay, March.
Because didn't Roger want to do it in March, because after spring break, you're busy.
I taken a date, but I don't remember what it was, so, you know, I mean, I don't have much schedule. I was thinking it was more like February.
Spring break?
No, that I was busy.
Oh,
The
gotcha.
weekend in February, so I think.
22nd.
22nd is a Saturday.
It started at spring break.
Oh, okay. Okay, so if we
So-
start, if we had this on the 16th.
Yeah.
Or anybody's vacation plans
Yeah.
for spring break,
March 16th.
that's what we did last year. 15th.
Okay.
John?
Job good, doesn't matter.
Okay, I will
Monday,
contact them
Tuesday.
and see what.
I'm good with Monday or Tuesday as well.
Okay,
What about John Quinn?
yeah,
I'm fine with whatever you guys agree to.
Thanks, John.
okay. Last thing is STO conference, just remind everybody the dates on that, and we have Dave's going, John Quinn's going, I'm going, TJ's going, Carol's going. We're just gonna be there. Please, this year. Got everybody, but that's all I have.
All right. So, we need to pay the bills, guys.
Motion to pay them.
I'll second it.
Roger seconded. Roll call, please.
Kate Harrison?
Yeah.
Roger Cole?
Yes.
Mike Carson?
Yes.
John Edward?
Yeah.
Josh Quinn?
Yes,
Thanks, John.
All right. Thank you, John.
Thank
yep,
you.
good to see you all. I have a date with about 12 felons this evening, so this afternoon.
Have fun with it.
I'm not going to jail, I'm fine.
Great.
You don't leave my house stuff for you to sign.